some training
차이가
partners
있고 어떤
who are
트레이닝
incredibly good, train very hard,
잘하는데 열심히
but are the
하고,
most safe training partners.
그리고 잘하면서도
And there are
굉장히
other training
안전한 파트너가
partners
있는 반면에
Who,
또 다른 파트너들은
you know, may train very hard,
열심히
but are
할지는
unsafe.
몰라도 같이 하기
And
때문에
some that train less
위험한
hard, but are
파트너도
still
있습니다.
unsafe.
그리고 덜 열심히
And
하더라도
where is the
위험한
line?
사람이
Where is
있어요.
the distinction? And
이
how do you
두
identify?
가지를
It's very
어떻게
clear. When you train with someone, you can tell right away.
어떻게 판별하느냐?
And what is it that can be so easily detected when you identify unsafe training partners?
안전하지 않은 위험한 파트너를 어떻게 감별할 수
The
있냐?
answer is unsafe training partners
위험한
care more
파트너들은
about winning
이기는 거에서
in
목숨을
that very
걸고
moment
그
than about
순간에
protecting the joints
더
and the body.
집착을 합니다.
for
그
them
관절이나
and their training
아니면
partners.
파트너를 보호하는
Victory,
것보다는
there's safety and there's victory. For the
안전과
unsafe,
이기는 거
safety is a
중요한데
little more important, or sorry, unsafe, victory is a little more important than safety.
이기는 거가 안전보다 더 중요한 경우.
For the safe people,
안전한
safety is a little more
파트너들은
important
이기는
than
거보다
victory.
안전이 더 중요합니다.
So even though they care about winning,
그래서
not as much as they care about doing it in a way that doesn't compromise the joint in a silly, crazy way.
누군가 다른 사람의 관절을 다치게
And in
하는
that
것은
sense,
아니어야겠죠.
the most advanced students are often
가장 잘하는
the safest.
학생들은 보통
It's because they've been around the longest
왜냐하면
and
그
they
사람들은
know
오래 해봤고
the journey cannot be jeopardized because of
그래서
someone's
여전히
lack of
다른
consideration
사람의
or safety.
배려의
It
부족으로
can't.
주-
The journey's too
여전히
special. Those who've been
그러면
training for
안 돼요.
5, 10 years or more,
5년, 10년
they know that
더
they're
훈련한
too lucky
사람들은
to have been able to stay on the mat for this long.
벨트를 이렇게까지
So when they train with someone newer,
이렇게까지
they want them to stay a long time, but they can
상대방도
only do it if they do it
자연스럽게
safely.
더
They
오래
know that, and they're
살아갈
trying
수
to.
있기를 바라게 됩니다.
Usually, they're the safest ones, more advanced,
오래
and the
하는
newer
사람이
ones
보통은
are
더
more
안전한
crazy.
파트너가 됩니다. 그리고 새로운
Why are the newer
사람들이
ones more
보통
crazy, even if they're good
위험한
people?
파트너가 되기 쉽습니다. 좋은 사람일지 하더라고. 좋은
Why are the newer ones
사람일지라도
more crazy, even if they're good
새로운 사람이 더
people?
위험하냐면은
Here's why. When you're newer, this is your skill level. This is your athletic ability,
여기는 반면에 운동 능력은 여기
physical ability, strong, fast, powerful.
빠르고 힘도 세고.
This is your skill level, new, beginner, knowledge, basics. This gap between
이두 가지의 차이가
your skill level and your physical capability, that gap is called the liability gap.
신체적인 능력 이게 바로 위험한
This is how much of a liability you are. That difference. Why? Because when you end up in a situation where your technique, you have no more technique to solve the problem, you go to your physical resources to solve the problem at any expense.
힘의 의지를 하게 되고.
So the safest people in the mat are the people whose physical ability
힘은 좀
is
부족하지만
below their technical ability.
힘이 기술보다 더 낮은 사람들.
And that can happen one of two ways. Either you're a man or a woman who's very small, not very powerful, you're just a really small, so everyone you train with is bigger and stronger than you, so you're not a physical, there's no physical advantage, you're here. And your technique is here. Which is who Jiu-Jitsu is for, which we love those people. Or, if this is your physical capability, you're very athletic, you have to develop your technique so much that your technique advance above your athleticism. That's where I'm at. My jiu-jitsu is way better than my body is powerful. But it took a long time to get there.
도전까지는 시간이 정말 많이 걸렸거든요.
And it's the case for many of the advanced people in this room, where their jiu-jitsu is better than their physical.
본인의 신체적 능력보다 기술이 더
But you guys can imagine, if this is how physical you are, how strong, and you start your technique here, there's a long time sometimes before you do this. Your technique is growing. There's a long time before this passes and now you're no longer dangerous. You're safe now. That's too long. That's could be 3 years before you close that gap. So what's the alternative?
그렇다면 대안은 무엇이냐?
If this is your technical ability,
기술이 여기 바닥에 있으면은
restricting your physical involvement
기술적인 힘 쓰는 거를 좀 자제를 하셔야 돼요.
until your technique can match
기술이
it.
따라잡을 수 있을 때까지.
But that's hard to do.
근데 사실 쉽지 않죠?
When you put so much of a premium, so much of a value on victory and submitting someone, it's hard to bring your natural, God-given physical ability and say, no, I'm going to go here.
아니야, 나 기술
It's so hard.
밑에 두고 할 거야. 정말 힘듭니다.
But here's what I'll tell you. If I have a student that I see is this technical and this physical and is training with a major liability element against his training partners, I pull him into the office and I explain to him, you're a liability to the training environment. And if you keep operating in the liability gap, instead of doing this, if you keep operating here, I'm not going to let you spar anymore. You just got to watch until you calm down. I'll go to that extent to make sure someone is not operating off the rails at the risk of everybody else
이렇게 제가 말을
and compromising
하면
other
다른
students.
사람을
That's how important
다치거나
safety is in the
위험하지
gym.
않게.
So the most liability prone people,
그래서 가장 위험한
most risky
사람들은
students are the ones who are very athletic and not very technical.
무조건
That's the
전략적인
bottom line.